And welcome to VOP this morning. Well, this is not VOP this morning, but this is VOP television. This is newspaper review, and I am Moses Humphrey with Chukuma Okoro. And we have two gentlemen with us. They'll join us as we go into the papers this beautiful Tuesday morning. Well, good morning to you, gentlemen. We have Prince Francis Chilaka, who is a public affairs commentator, and Dr. Deji Omoshola. Good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
All right, without wasting any time, let's get into stories that made it to the cover pages of the dailies. The story about the arrest, the DSS arresting Joe Ajaero, president of Nigerian Labour Congress, makes it to most of the dailies this morning. From the Punch newspaper, we have the banner headline here reads, Ajaero's arrest saga, DSS succumbs to pressure as NLC plans showdown. A Labour leader released ahead of NLC's 12 midnight ultimatum, while PDP, LP, others lampoon FG over arrest, invasion. Well, there are other headlines from the Punch newspaper. So before we zero in into this headline now, let's just take an overview of some of the other headlines here. We have fuel landing cost rises, marketers fear high Dangote petrol price, refinery may beat down PMS price, queues reduce as depots supply products. Enugu, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom lead as Mpox spreads to 21 states. Beside the nameplates, APC, PDP disagree over campaign violence. Citizens can't afford to have illiterate governor, Ighodalo. And then further down we have 4 billion naira illegal arms, lawyer's absence, stalls suspects arraignment. AGF plans to abolish pardon for convicted looters. Gunmen kill Anambra businessman after 10 million naira ransom. Dump cops in gutter. Telecom services risk disruption as 800 workers begin strike. Well, these are the headlines from the cover page of the Punch newspaper. Before we get into another paper, same headline, what we are zeroing onto from The Guardian. Guardian has its banner headline, Labour, security agencies in deadlock over Ajaero's arrest, harassment. All right? Well, these are, this is our major focus for today. Joe Ajaero arrested yesterday morning. Nigerians, saw that story on the cover pages of websites, newspapers and everything. The DSS swung into action, prevented Ajaero from traveling out of the country to the United Kingdom for a conference over there. And Nigerians have been reacting. NLC did say, look, release him before midnight or there will be showdown. Before afternoon, yesterday, we saw workers in the electricity sector talking about shutting down electricity if Joe Ajaero is not released. Now, I'm going to come to you, Prince Francis. How would you describe the actions of the DSS in that arrest? And what does this portend for democracy?
I would be asking myself this question, are we really in a democratic setting where there's freedom of expression, freedom of movement, where people are allowed to go about their legitimate duties? Every now and then, the Nigerian people would say, we're still having that little flair of military rule in our system. And I want to believe that. And that is why I keep saying that there is need for us to shred the obnoxious 1999 Constitution. Maybe that will get us out of this whole thing about, militarization of governance. Because what we see is a typical days of the late Abacha, where you don't talk, you don't sneeze, you don't cough.
There was even a post that said the spirit of Abacha is looming around Nasirok.
Inibehe.
A bomb.
Yes, made that statement.
Yes.
So for me, I think that the DSS, as a matter of fact, is losing steam.
The DSS is losing steam.
Yes. When you don't have something to do, or when you're doing something that is totally wrong, somebody must take the blame.
So, Prince Chinaka, is it that the NLC is it that the DSS is losing steam, or does it have to do with the individual? You talked about Nigeria going back to the military era, linking it with what the activist said about the ghost of Abacha
looming around as a rock.
Our First Republic is about 25 years, and we haven't had it so bad. Is it about the system or about the individual that is in power now?
It's about the system. We do not have institutions. Every institution of government is meant to protect government, not the people.
But unfortunately,
the police will come after you.
Like what we see here.
No, the police will come after you when they feel that you are attacking the government. The judiciary will come after you when they feel that you are attacking the government. The legislators themselves will come after you when they...
Isn't that peculiar to Nigeria? Is that the way it is in other climes?
Nigeria cannot be defined in terms of leadership.
Sorry, take that again. Nigeria cannot be defined
in terms of leadership. We seem to have leaders without ideology. We seem to have leaders who do not believe in what true leadership is all about. So I become a president, I define how I want things to be done. But we need to have an institution that defines what you do and curb your excesses.
All right, okay. Let's bring Dr. Deji into the conversation now.
Because I see he's been shaking his head.
Oh yes, he's gearing to go. Now, with the arrest of Joe Ajaero and then the raid of Serap office in Abuja by DSS officials, where they were also inquiring for the directors. Unfortunately, they didn't see them on seat, and there was this apprehension in the air that these directors were going to be arrested. And you do recall that some hours before, less than 24 hours before, or about 24 hours before, Serap gave some sort of ultimatum to the president that, look, reverse pump price or we'll sue you. And also sue NNPC if NNPC is not doing what they should be doing. So how do you react to this really? Is this coming at the wrong time, at the right time? Is there something that could be deduced from this arrest and ransacking of an office?
Well, thanks for having me. First, I would say it is whether a wrong time or a right time. I would say it is an idea of a government whose time has come. Every government has its own features, or if you like, characteristics, or if you like, its own modus operandi. Now, this is, to me, is like the second chapter. The first chapter of this government, if I can rate it by features, is first that whatever you use, whatever you eat, you must pay. So government, in this case, of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, does not exist to create any kind of succumb. Education, for you to get educated, costs also amount. Government is not ready to subsidize anything. Your electricity, if you are using electricity, it costs also amount. Government is not ready to come to your rescue. So one of the features of the government is a kind of like anything you use, you must pay. So no succumb. To use two words, no succumb. That is one. Now, the second that is now evolving, because this only occurred like lately, the government began to gain ground after like a year whereby the government has solidified itself. Now, the president is now stable in office after the Supreme Court judgment. Then his true character, the true character of the government, what the government truly believes in, will begin to evolve. For instance, if you have a baby and the baby cannot walk on its own, when that baby begin to crawl, when that baby begin to kind of like eat itself, like can feed itself, then you begin to kind of like know the character that the baby will have. So now, what I'm seeing now is like the second chapter, which is a clamp down on any dissenting voice. Whether you are a journalist, whether you are a professional, the thing is, you must be in support of the government. But the truth is, it becomes very difficult when a government keeps going to the right where nothing is right, and or turning to the left where nothing is left.
You're talking about...
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the thing is, there's no way there won't be dissenting voice. In fact, democracy itself is about dissenting voices. If there's not meant to be a dissenting voice in a democracy, there won't be an opposition. There won't be the need for an election. That opposition, that person contesting against you, is a dissenting voice. Perhaps an opposing ideology.
You did say something about resurgence in clampdown. And I'm just thinking, you recall that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had a change of baton in the office of the DG of the DSS. This new clampdown, you know, about Ajaero, Serap, the raiding of the Serap office and all of that, assembling, taking people to court, you know, protesters and all of that. Does it have anything to do with the new DG of DSS? Is he trying to show that like a new broom he can sweep clean? Is he trying to impress his principal? And do you think that we are going to see more of this from him?
You asked me a question some time ago, right in this studio, that with the appointment of this man, would it bring about a change? And I asserted that this appointment won't bring about much change because you have to look at the body language of the person that appointed him. What does the person want? And the DSS as an organization exists mainly to serve the president.
Isn't that an aberration?
It is an aberration, but, you know, sometimes...
Is it an aberration considering the fact that the act that sets up the DSS also talks about protecting the president, protecting the regime?
It is an aberration because, for some reasons, number one, when you don't put in checks and balance, when you wield so much power to one man, and I think that is one of the problems that the framers of the Constitution made. Because I think the framers of the Constitution never imagined that, maybe they thought by the time you would have walked through life and you're able to find yourself in the position of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they thought that definitely you would be in a position whereby you would take some right decisions. Maybe they never imagined that when you get to that position, there are some things you won't do. Maybe they thought the President of Nigeria would be a Superman. That is why they will say, okay, you can appoint, and you have a Buhari that will appoint the security agencies from a certain group. And you have, at the end of the day, a president that will believe that he can use the DSS as his own wishes. So I think it is an aberration for you to make the DSS like the property of the president. What if you have a president that doesn't like any kind of dissenting voice? Then the DSS will not be a tool in his hands. So for me, this Ajaero something, for instance, anything that the DSS, that the police is doing, they are doing it with taxpayers' money. Okay. And when I heard of his arrest, what first came to my mind is, how can 3 or 4 security agencies be on your case? You must be a very dire terrorist. Do you know what it means? For the police alone, the police has anti-bomb squad, mobile police. If the police alone...
And marine police.
If the police alone is using the resources of the country on your case, not to not talk of Ajaero, sorry to use the word, with profound respect to him, small Ajaero, without his small stature. Yeah, that is small stature. You are unleashing the police on small Ajaero in court with profound respect to him. The DSS, the NIA. And I asked myself that for you to be the chairman of a Labour Congress of a country, that means that you must have been a professional in one way or the other, and you must have been in the organization for long.
It's actually a position of influence.
Yes, it's actually a position. So if you now unleash the DSS, the police on Ajaero, what if you don't like the way I look? What will you unleash on me?
I think the
host of heaven.
I think the whole thing is the misplaced priority
by
those in government. It is totally misplaced priority. In the sense that, overzealousness, misplaced priority. overzealousness on the part of the security agencies. But my annoyance and my anger, my frustration, is that they are not showing this where they should show it. We have bandits terrorizing the entire country. Because if anything that happens in the north is affecting the south and the west. The hunger in the land today is because the farmers in the north are not going to the farms. So why are they not spending so much energy, so much time trying to locate
the bandits?
There was a memo or whatever which they claim was not correct that came out a few days back. But the funny thing is that the names of these bandits were clearly written. In other words, the governors of these states, where these bandits have found a safe haven, know them very well. The people know them. So why is it that the DSS, in quotes, secret police, why have they not been able to? In the southeast, you have the unknown gunmen terrorizing the entire southeast. The only thing you will hear them say is that they are ESN, they are IPOB. But the same DSS, in less than 1 hour, got the names of people who they believe were organizing the End Bad Governance protest. They got their phone numbers, they got their bank accounts. Why is the DSS not being proactive in this light?
So this is beginning to look a lot like selective witch hunting, selective justice, as it is.
No, don't use the word justice. It's an aberration.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, no, it depends whether justice is served or not.
We all know what justice stands for. But the moment you're doing something that's contrary to
I say justice because could there be something that Joe Ajaero has done that would warrant, him being prevented from leaving the shores of this country? Some Nigerians are beginning to ask.
The issue of what DSS did yesterday to Joe Ajaero, they ended up embarrassing themselves, embarrassing the intelligence community, and embarrassing the Nigerian government.
Let's state here that Joe Ajaero has since been let off the hook. He's been released on bail, though, on administrative bail. And, the conversation around the administrative bail is still something I'm trying to deal with.
Yes.
The fact that it's actually illegal. But
yes,
anyway.
like I said, the government embarrassed itself, embarrassed the Nigerians. And and I asked the question, isn't it possible that intelligence, DSS, could have stopped Ajaero at his doorstep? Sorry, gentleman, sorry, young man, you can't embark on this trip. Very few people. Nigerians will just get up to know that Ajaero has been arrested by the DSS, rather than arresting him at the international airport, which is more like a gateway to the nation. When they get to the conference venue where he was going to address, his seat will be vacant and questions should be asked. What happened? Nigeria was supposed to be here. What happened to the NLC president? And the international community will be told that the president, the NLC president, was arrested at the airport.
Do you think that this government is bothered about international community?
That's what I'm saying. It should be concerning.
Or the DG of DSS
it should be concerning.
You see, you asked the question, you threw a question earlier. You were talking
more like an open-ended discussion.
No, you were
because
asking,
I'm duly concerned about the international embarrassment the government has brought to us.
No, you were asking a question.
If bandits, if there's a breaking news that bandits slaughter 80 people, is that not a greater international embarrassment?
No, but we are used to that.
As government, I just asked. Is that not a greater embarrassment?
Very unfortunate.
You see, what I think is, we need to be more civilized as a country, because when you arrest someone, even if it's for 1 hour, you have denied that person of his productivity, and that's why you see that in other climes, they would investigate you. They would have established in fact, your case file will be waiting, then they arrest you and take you to court. But in our own climb, they will first of all arrest you, then they'll now be looking for case to. Imagine, you release somebody on administrative bail at a point whereby this petroleum pump price was increased. Till now, you are yet to talk to Nigerians. Don't tell me it's about a security matter. No. You are not to reveal all the details, but at least you can give some words about why this man was arrested. And the administrative bail implies that he can even be invited anytime. You can invite him even at midnight. If you invite him, he must provide himself. And you arrested him during working hour. You didn't charge him to court. He has been in the police headquarters some days before then. You let him go. So why do you create an international embarrassment, and even a local one at that, for the country, whereby you just want to pick someone, and we will have people, for instance now, it is the duty of the government to convince me as a citizen about what Ajaero has done. So if you fail to convince me, and I'm seeing somebody like Asari Dokubo brandishing firearms, and you are yet to unleash the apparatchik of the state against him, but an Ajaero, when I know you are an intolerant government, when I know that you don't like dissenting voice, an Ajaero, you see, the policy of government can be in two ways. It's either unidirectional or bidirectional, or if you like, you can call it multidirectional. Ajaero was a powerful voice, and I'll give you the instance. The removal of fuel subsidy. When the subsidy was removed, government earned more money. But the money was retained with the government. The people that sacrificed, that are buying fuel at an increased rate, nothing was going back to them. It is the federal government and the state government that was sharing the money. That policy in such an instance is unidirectional. Now, there's a relationship between the state and the citizen. When there's a policy implementation and the people that the policy affects, they are giving but are not taking, they are not receiving, that is unidirectional. It was this same Joe Ajaero that made the policy of government to remove fuel subsidy that make it bidirectional. It was if Joe Ajaero and his court in NLC had not risen to the occasion to say no, you cannot increase fuel subsidy for over a year and the salary will remain the same. You cannot increase fuel subsidy for over a year and there will be no palliative. Joe Ajaero and his likes swung into action. They made a progress, which is an increment of minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000, even though it is an unrealistic wage. But if Joe Ajaero and his likes have not taken that action, did government show any kind of interest in creating succumb to the people? No. So it was this same Joe Ajaero that made the policy of government as